Welcome to your weekly fantasy football recap. I'm your host, Krim Barflow. Let's start with the gimme game that saw the top dog, Houday and the Blowfish, versus the cellar-dwelling Schmucks. As usual, Chuck was this week's top score. Wait a minute. Receiving word that the Blowfish were not this week's top scoring team, and that, well, this can't be correct, that John scored above the median and earned his first point of the season? What a time to be alive. The Blowfish weren't able to simply steamroll the Schnucky Schmuckies, even though John dropped Evan Ingram and Chuck turned him into 23 plus points. John still lost, if you couldn't guess, but hey, a pity point nonetheless. Pity points, you say? Well, that's all our defending champions could muster against Will Levis's baby arm. Alex traded Zay Flowers to Grant for Josh Jacobs, and all he did was put up near 30 points against his former squad. Alex wasn't aided much by the abysmal 5-point performance from Dak Prescott, but let's not overlook the 7.8 YPC performance from the Cincy discard Joe Mixon, leading Grant to this week's third highest point total. But who was this week's highest point scorers? Well, it certainly wasn't Olave Garden, who could barely muster over 100 points versus Team Cody, thanks in part to a 0 from his namesake Chris Olave and a negative .1 points from Travis Etienne. This was a matchup in which neither team was able to secure the second point of the week. Next up, a battle between two highly engaged and motivated managers, Logan and Team Hot Logs against Chris and Team Seymour Audible. Both managers tried their hardest to donate a victory to the other by starting two players that weren't playing. Logan with Anthony Richardson, and in perhaps the boldest move of the year, Chris yet again starting Devin Singletary, making it 2 weeks in a row, starting him for no points, and somehow still securing the victory. Owners around the league are torn. Which is the more unacceptable, not showing up to draft or not showing up each Sunday? Now, to Pax Interference for this week's Game of the Week. Pax? Well, get me someone down there. I'm dying in here. Yes, Krim, we're here. Pax is unavailable at the moment. This is Brim Carflow Stein. We're fieldside for the critical hits, taking on 2.5 Burrows. For the second straight week, Derek is on the receiving end of an upset victory. I believe this is the most points put up by Mike thus far this season, and the most points scored this week, as he crushes Derek by a final of 181 to 119. Sources tell me that Derek is in full scramble mode, trying to right the ship before she capsizes. Back to you, Krim. Thanks, Brim. Now, a quick look at the upcoming matchups. Has Mike turned a corner, gunning for a third straight victory versus this year's Jason? Can Derek get back to contention against the struggling Logan? Can Chris start a full roster against the best record in the league? We can only hope. And as always, best of luck, competitors.